store in Newport on the Levee, and I would let something like drain me. I knew it wasn't working. I knew it didn't feel good in my soul. I knew that it was too many variables, but I'm like, no, like I'm gonna keep on going and keep, because you keep on going, keep on going.
It'll get better.
The thing is that some people don't tell you how to keep on going. And that's how you learn in the difference. So yes, keep on going, but let that strategy fail fast. Okay, that's not working.
Okay.
We're seeing that's making us lose money.
All right, you guys, welcome back to the Sweet Life Chats. It's been probably since, I think, 2019, I used to do these chats. I used to sit down with entrepreneurs, female entrepreneurs who were pursuing their own like sweetest life, which for me, and the description of that is like healthy mind, spirit, body, but doing things you love. And so I kind of put this on the back burner to do a whole bunch of other things, but like this year I was like, I'm bringing them back. And I've been wanting to talk to you for a long time. So I'm going to let you talk to my friend sitting next to me because we're going to tell her story. We're going to talk about her experience, and she's opening up a new venture that I'm inspired by, and I know you will be too. So can you tell us a little bit about who you are and what you do?
Yes, so I am Kiara Russell, also known as Kiwi, owner of JWK Juicery, and that stands for Juicing with Kiwi. We've been a mobile juice bar for the last 5 years. So this is our 5th year, and we decided to do a storefront. So a lot of changes. I'm super excited, really challenging. But what I do is I'm known for our 3-day juice reboot. How I started this was a mom of 2 under 2. I was a banker, very active. So when I decided to stay home, I gained 100 pounds like that, and it would not come off. And so I was like, okay, what are we gonna do? Going to the gym was not really an option with 2 under 2. Being a stay-at-home mom now, so my life flipped upside down. So I actually read the book, The Healing Power of Celery Juice. Me and the kids would just go to the library because that was like the only place we could
Free.
Literally, it's free and it's kid friendly. And if a kid is crying or running, you know what I mean? So like with all the other stay-at-home moms in the area. Right. So, and then like the lifestyle changed, like sedentary and like versus like being active. Long story short, I decided to post a YouTube video. I was like, I got into juicing, and I decided to post one YouTube video showing that I was juicing. I came up with this 3-day juice cleanse. I juiced for 3 days. The other 3 days I was off of juicing. I would do lean meats, and then on that last day was like my day to do whatever I wanted because I'm like a binge eater, and people literally watched me lose weight. Hence, juicing with Kiwi.
Oh, wow.
So 5 years later, here we are.
Yeah. That was really cool because I heard your story when we were at a beauty, the only, well, probably not the only beauty, but the first Beauty Boost event that I went to. I heard your story. And I was like, I saw you over there, and you were like over in the corners, like people were calling me, messing up my interview. You were over in the corner, like against the wall, and you started telling your story about your juicing and your business. And then I think I like found you after that, but I never really got a chance to connect with you. Yeah. And then we saw each other there was another event that I saw. Oh, well, I connected with you and I had gotten some juice. And then another time you were doing the Health Gap event.
Yep.
And and I was like, wait a minute, that's that girl with the juicing. I had bought some juice and I was like, okay, I got to connect with her.
Yeah.
And that was like right after COVID, I think.
Yeah.
That was around 2020, 2021.
Yep.
And I ever since then, I was like, okay, I got to connect with her because our visions are the same. Yep. We're both talking about health and wellness. We both are really concerned about health in the community and people and being out in the community. And this woman... If you say the hardest working woman in showbiz, like she is the hardest working woman in juicing. And as a Black female entrepreneur, like as a female entrepreneur, and definitely as a Black woman, and you're in an industry of food service and things. How is that for you? Like, what is different for you versus if someone's interested in going into a food juicing, food and beverage industry as a female or even a Black female?
Oh my goodness. So for me, being in this industry, as far as like a comparison, I really didn't have anything to compare it to because I came from banking. But once I got a deep dive into the industry, because most of the time it's going to be people, there's a lot of women in this industry, right? But unfortunately, like when you start scaling up, it's pretty male dominant in those big, like the people that are going to get you those big catering deals or those big, So what I see is, how do I answer this? Okay. Look, I have my notes. Okay.
No, take your notes out if you want to.
So
We're also enjoying some acai bowls.
So what I see is representation is huge for me. So especially in the health, I want to answer it like I want to not generalize it all over food, but in the health food industry.
Okay, yeah, that
in
was
the
going to say
health
let's focus on the
health food industry.
I'm going to let you hold this mic so I can eat my coffee.
And you know what? So in the health food industry, we don't have a lot of representation. Sometimes I'm almost always the only one in the room or the only one of two when it comes to being a Black female in the food industry, right? And sometimes, and then too, when we go into just being a woman in the food industry, then, if we might be three of whatever, and we kind of lock eyes and we kind of see, especially with me doing a whole bunch of I do a lot of different cohorts. And what cohorts are like these learning courses that you can take. Okay. I've done one with the Urban Cincinnati, what is it called? The Urban League. Urban League. I've done a cohort, got a grant from them. We have done more. I love Mortar cohort. 10 out of 10. If you have the opportunity.
I've heard that.
I love.
And I know the owners of Mortar.
Yep.
They are amazing.
Yeah.
And I want to get my business to a point where I can go present it to them. I'm not there yet.
So literally one of the founders. So we started out of a shared kitchen space, the Incubator Kitchen Collective in Covington, Kentucky, which I highly recommend to start off in a shared kitchen space. If you're a person that you're just at home, like I was just at home juicing for myself. So I had no idea. I've never worked in the restaurant industry. So when it's all started happening really fast, at first I'm just juicing for family and friends. And I'm like, oh, we're going to do this. We're going to need to get licensed and all these other things. I'm starting with like zero. It's just me, someone that just makes really good cupcakes. And once you become a bakery, long story short, I rented a commercial kitchen space, and the owner is Rachel. She's amazing. She has vegan cookies that are in Kroger. So one thing about shared kitchen space, you get access to a lot of people really, really fast that have went through what you're going through. So one of them, what is his name? He owns a taco place, Ponderosa. Do not judge me. Oh my goodness. If you see this, I love you. He has fed me many a juicing nights, him and his team. He had, because that was when they were just a truck the trailer. So literally, and that was one of the founders of Mortar. Strategy did. That idea did. You didn't fail. You're still right here. We're still right here, and we still can move. Wow. We are still right here. We can still shift this thing. We can shuck this thing. So detach yourself from your ideas and ideologies and, detach yourself from your expectations of how you thought it was going to look, how success is supposed to look. It is not linear. You're going to be, it's not. It's not. So just, I'm glad you asked me that question.
That's really good.
It's not you. It's the idea. The idea does not define you. I am not this. I am Kiara Russell. I am Kiwi. I am not JWK juicery. Wow. I love my juicery. It is a piece of me, but that does not, if it all went away today, I would still be juicing in my kitchen, making my green juice, minding my business, making my videos, and I wouldn't be so attached. So that takes away some of that failure because what are people going to say? Or even what do you say about yourself? What are you saying to yourself? Forget about other people. We're our worst person.
Right.
We're going to tell ourselves that we're a failure. It's not going to work before somebody else does. They might think it, but we're the ones that are going to say it to ourselves.
Right. And then we're going to absorb that and keep that as part of who we are.
Yep.
Versus okay, this didn't work. Time to shift strategies.
One book that I love, and I've read it over and over, and I keep it in my sauna. It is called You're a Badass. Oh, yeah, and I got gifted that book year one.
By Jen.
I don't even know who the author is. The yellow one, the yellow book. Mm-hmm. Yep, I got
Jen something.
I got gifted that book because I was attached. It was my identity because I had been a stay-at-home mom. So I was in that area where I didn't have first I was top banker and my job was my identity. So when JWK was doing great, JWK was my identity. That was me. That was, that took me away from just being a mother and a wife. I now have an identity, but when something went wrong in JWK, it affected everything and everyone around me because now I felt like a failure and so
it's the same way with almost even being a mom, whatever role you have, if your kids fail, and if you actually have been a good mom or parent, done everything you can, you feel like everyone's going to look at it like it's me.
Yep,
no, that was their choice, their decision. Yep. they had the option for a perfect life and they chose that.
Yep.
Same with the business, same with the career. Like you have to find, I just said this to my kids this morning, like after God, your relationship with yourself is the most important relationship you can ever have. After your relationship with God, that is truly the only relationship you need to focus on. How you see yourself, what you say about yourself, how you feel about yourself. And that's how you avoid looking at everything that happens around you as failure versus knowing that, like, I did the best I could. It didn't work out. I'm going to try something different. This didn't work out. But yeah, that's a really good piece of advice, because so many of us beat ourselves up. Like, every day, here, eat. I want you. Like, I'm like, you gotta eat. So many of us, and I am like, so like, that is me to, well, was me to a T. That would beat myself up and bring up old stuff. Like, who brings up more stuff more often than you do to yourself? Oh my God. Like, no one else is even thinking about this thing you did 10 years ago. And that's the first thing that pops in your head. Like, oh, if I just wouldn't have done that 10 years ago, man. People like, what? You thinking about something you did 10 years ago?
People used to ask us, like, do you have a storefront? So I had one in the levee and it didn't work out and I closed it. I'm like, well, actually we did.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
We're mobile. No, that's the answer. No, we're mobile. We're mobile. We just have commercial kitchen.
That's good. That's good.
Why did you bring up something that didn't, now you're putting that down. Oh, this didn't. So that customer, they didn't even ask for that. Like, why are you? And
you're bringing them into your trauma.
And I learned that from a cohort.
You're bringing them into your trauma. Like, you have the trauma from the loss. They don't even know the loss ever happened.
Now that's like tarnished my credibility. Like, oh,
right now, like, oh, she failed before. Right? Like, do we really want to work with her because she has failed before? They didn't
even ask for that. They were happy. They were loving what you were already doing.
We were talking a little bit earlier and about being a mom and balancing it all. And the one thing I actually love about you is that, like I was saying earlier in the beginning of the interview, like, you are completely transparent. You show your mom falls. You show you being a mom. You show you at the pool working and while the kids are swimming, and you show all that. How is it balancing? Because I've done this as a mom of 4, working full time, went back to school to get my bachelor's, back to school to get my master's, I had businesses and working full time and being a mom. I don't even remember any of that. So I have to ask you this question because I truly don't remember. Yeah. I don't remember. It's almost like, you have trauma and you like forget it.
You keep on moving.
You keep moving. You keep going, doing it. How do you balance it all? How do you stay mom, wife, business owner, and now taking on this whole new venture of a storefront?
Can I say I don't? Like, I'm like, can I?
Yes, like, please
I
say
don't.
That.
I don't. I forget.
She's so real
I forget whose interview it was. And she said, if you see me excelling in one area, know that I am falling short in another. You pick your battles. You pick your battles. You pick your poison. I try to prioritize. I try to wake up before my kids. I try to get up at 4:30, 5 a.m. And it's like, oh, how are you waking up? That's my only option. If I want to be able to work out, if I want to be able to have a moment. But some people have seen me, spend the night here. They're like, oh, you're the hardest working woman. I see you, you're grinding. My husband has had to do dinner. He has had to do breakfast. My mother moved in to help. Like, it is literally, and they don't, oh, mommy, you're going back to work. Oh, mommy, you're going, and then people see me being the world's greatest mom. Guess what? I got a thing full of emails that I haven't been responding to, probably lost out on a booking because I didn't respond because I chose my kids that day. So you don't. It gets better. You outsource. You prioritize. Like, you know what? Maybe when they did football, I'm like, I haven't missed one game. And it was something that came up and I'm like, okay, maybe I could, with that one game. But I knew when they started football, I didn't want to be that mom that never went to the games. My mother, I love my mom. She did what she could with what she was, but I was an athlete. So because she was so busy making the money for us to go to private school, making the money for us to be in all these sports, my mom never was at any games. So I knew that for me, guess what? I dished out that money for extra staff, and I allocated that. So even with this year, so right now I'm a one-man show because I'm learning all these things. But I know that I'm going to be hiring more staff for our peak farmers market season and mobile season because of what's going on with my kids. They want to do a different sport as well on top of football. And I know I want to be there. So I try to plan for that. But then the unplanned happens. Like, today, She was sitting for like an hour waiting, okay, for this interview, right? So, and I wanted to be the best daughter. I wanted to surprise my mom, and I wanted to do this whole thing. And I didn't even think about it. Well, I was late all this week. I've been on time. I've been up at 4:30. I have been great. But the moment that I wanted to sow into my mother and do something that came out of the, but that was a sacrifice I made because I wanted to do that. And then people will see me with my mom and be like, oh my gosh, you have the best daughter. And then I got a meeting and it's like, okay, where are you? You know what I mean? Like, so if you see me over here, you're like, oh my gosh, that was amazing. How did you? Something else. Something else. And that's how it, good. Calendars too. Calendars. Yeah. And some days I feel like, some days I will toot my own horn. Some days I feel really balanced. I might pass out at 8:30 or while we're having, but okay. Some days I feel like I checked all those boxes and I'm like, yes, mommy, you did that.
Yes, wife.
Yeah.
Yes, owner.
Yep.
Owner.
Yes,
daughter.
Literally, some days and you're gonna have them, but don't feel bad when you don't, and just know that we gotta prioritize. So like prioritizing, 100%
prioritizing. Yeah, that's the funny thing because like I honestly like when you look back. I mean, our kids are all grown now, and the last one's in college. But like I don't remember. Like I honestly, I know it happened and I know it worked and I know everybody ate and bills are paid and everything happened. I just don't remember how it happened.
Yep.
But I think but I was just doing it.
You were doing
I was getting up early, working out. Like when I saw you get up early, I was like, that was me getting up before the kids got up so I could get a workout in. Absolutely. Before I go to work. But yeah, it's about prioritizing. And then like you said, on one end, if something looks like it's succeeding, that means I'm probably missing out in over here.
Man, and I will say one thing I will say. So last year, this really changed the game for me. Last year in February the 11th, I got baptized. And it was an adult baptism. So I was baptized as a child, but I gave my life over, reborn again. And when I say, oh my gosh, if I had known what I knew now, I would have done it so long ago. It has really, when I don't know and I'm confused, I do this thing, I call it pause and pray. I will stop and I will pray and I will talk to God. Because sometimes we want to run to everybody else. And people are very verified. We want to run to everybody else. Yeah. And sometimes your answer is not traditional. Your answer is outside the box. Your answer, it might look weird to everybody else what you're doing. Like,
and they've never experienced it.
And they can't. And so I have that conversation. So if me and God are in alignment, and I come up with some crazy ideas. And everyone's like, Kiwi, no, we're not doing that. And I'm like, we're doing it. When I bought the juice truck, when we decided I'm doing it, my husband was like, this is make no sense. I'm not, you and your dad are building a what? Like my dad's a contractor out of Detroit. And I was going to Detroit every weekend and we were building. He's like, what? Wait a minute. What? I'm doing it. And I'm like, all right, you getting in or not? And most of the time people get in. But yeah. And sometimes no one's going to get in. It's going to be you. It's going to be you and God.
You know what? That is so Noah. That is such a Noah story because Noah was out there. God told me to build this, and all the neighbors are like, "There's no rain. He's crazy.
Oh yeah."
Crazy. And I think we're all afraid to look crazy.
Oh, you are going to look so crazy.
No, because we have so many examples on social media, and there's always like somebody you think you have to do everything in alignment with what's already out there.
Yeah,
and that's why I love you telling that story. Like all I saw was Noah and his favor because of him listening to what God said to do and following God's lead. All the time. And I think even sometimes your husbands, they have your best interest. Your family has your best interest. But like when God leads you to do something, and I love that you did it.
Yeah, that's Stephanie's assignment. That's not Mr. Stephanie's assignment. That's not. So of course he's going to come from protecting. He's your protector. Right. He's your provider. He's your, he doesn't want to see you stressed. He doesn't want to. He knows you're about to take this on. He wants his little delicate, dainty.
They do.
My husband had a housewife. Okay. He had his little meals. I had nothing else to do but serve that man. Okay. So this was a real what is going? I'm like, I kind of felt that girl bossed a little too hard sometimes. Where I'm like, you know what? I might just want to cut up some fruit at home for you. Can I? No, bye. See you later.
I gotta go.
Yeah,
I'm gonna be sleeping in the shop tonight.
Yeah,
making juice.
Yeah, and he'll come and he'll be here. But that's the.
Yeah, I've seen him at events helping me take. And then my husband was always up for since I've been doing this. They're helping me set up, help me take down. but sometimes I'll have ideas like that, and I get so afraid of what other people will say or think, and so like and then I go mistake that. I'm so glad you said to somebody and ask them for advice.
Always.
And now I'm learning, I'm moving into a whole different space where I'm like walking in where God leads me instead of doing that, which is something I've done in the past. And I actually regret, I mean, you shouldn't live with regrets, but I do regret that because I listened so much to when other people held me back from what God told me to do.
Yeah. And sometimes God's going to send the people that you really need to talk to that are in alignment with your vision. Because if you come to me about something and I say something, it's nothing against me, but I'm like, that sounds, versus, because if I've never been an entrepreneur before or anything, and then you put yourself in these spaces or God sends you these people, you make these connections with people, you say it to them, they're like, oh my gosh, that's amazing. That's innovative. Like I've been studying, it's like, there it goes. You're going to get a whole different reaction, a whole different action plan, a whole different pep. So I don't really take it personal a lot of times. I know that I'm a little, I'm like, even if you see me on social media, I'm the same. I'm like, look, I'll come up with ideas. I'm all over the place. But I love that about me. And I pray that. Thank you.
That inspires me. I mean, that really inspires me. Just having this talk has inspired me so much to like take steps that I've, and then actually I already told myself this year. So God meant, starting off the year in another country, and that really inspired me to come back. And then starting off like the first interview of our new series of Sweet Talks with someone like, who I mean, I know you guys are motivated because I'm like, I'm trying not to cry again.
Look, I know, right?
Because
I do that.
I literally have held myself back so many times, and I haven't walked in God's plan because I've listened to other people, because I've listened to them try to keep me safe and not take risk, and to do things that were on my heart that like God has placed on my heart to do this. Like you said, it's not somebody else's vision, it's not somebody else's plan, it's God's plan for your life. And that's what we have to separate ourselves from. Our kids, our husbands, and still be in those relationships, but know that God has a specific plan and purpose for your life, your personality, your likes, dislikes, all those things.
Yeah. You can sit with another. I fellowship with a lot of different juice bar owners, and people are like, "Oh, you're telling people where do you get your machine? You're telling this and that." Well, that works for me because that's the kind of I'm different in that area. So I've been able to build connections and swap out recipes and stuff. But if you look at the cohort handbook, I go against a lot of that. Like a lot of the stuff I need. You need that. You need your numbers and stuff. But as far as like when I was learning about know your customer, the KYC, I felt something shift in me, and I didn't like it because I don't want to analyze my customer, right? Like, oh, they need to. What's their median income? Right. I literally I kind of and I know which the numbers show that it is correct. If you take your customers and whatever business, it's going to be there, but I don't really focus on that stuff. And, in certain aspects you do when you're running marketing and ad campaigns and stuff. But it was a shift in me. And I knew, and a lot of times I felt like imposter syndrome in some of those rooms.
Oh, my gosh.
Because I was like, they're like, well, how did you know this information? Well, how did you know where your customers drop off? Did you look at your charts? No, I asked them. I talked to them. And when I would say that, people are like you didn't, did you went on your website and you checked it? I talked to them. I simply, well, how do you know that your customers prefer? I talk to them.
Wow.
They are not 0.11x white customer. That's Stephanie. That's her husband. And he doesn't juice, but he'll occasionally take a ginger or wellness shot. Her daughter's allergic to pineapple. The texture thing, you know what I mean? Like,
which is what we're missing out in this world. Like, everything has gone so much to technology, and that's why sometimes I don't like technology. Like, I like it for what we can use it for. Yeah. But then I also miss interaction and interpersonal relationships. Yeah. Which is something I feel like even like maybe businesses think of more now with numbers because we have access to that information, instead of like how a lot of businesses grew back in the day when we were businesses of
because
people.
Joan told Jill and Jill told, that is literally the story of JWK. That is, people have asked me, oh, do you have a marketing degree?
And you were in the community.
You were in the community. In the community. And numbers, do not get me wrong, numbers work. They work. There's juice bars that are like amazing, like numbers work. Figure out what works for you. Figure out where, and then if you figure out something, like mine is so untraditional. I remember the farmer's market's like, oh, the type of content that I share. Oh, I see you share a lot of your personal. You shouldn't share personal. That's how I got started.
That's how people always told me. So that's why, like, I didn't always share a lot of personal, but I feel like I wasn't, people didn't know who I was. And even over the last 4 years, I haven't shared like as much personal, which I feel like now I feel like I need to, because I don't think people always know who you are. Like when they meet you in person, 100% they know you. People that know you. Yeah. But people who are getting to know you don't get to know you because you post great content about your product. They get to know you because you post content about who you are. And that's something that's really hard to do. It's hard to come out from behind the product. I will attest to that. I 100% attest to that. It's hard to come from behind the product to become a person.
That should be a thing. From behind the product.
Did we crazy?
I think you just created a thing. I like that because I am in reverse. Because it was always me. So I wanted to do YouTube. When I made the juice cleanse, I've always been like that. And then the YouTube video did not go viral or anything like that. But the shares and the people were like, make me. So I literally remember that year I dropped that YouTube. 2 days later, I was delivering juice.
Wow.
And my next YouTube was a year later, and we were licensed, and it was just like all this thing. And then I can even tell I had lost weight, and I had kept it off, and you could like even see. So, I mean, one thing I have learned, because I remember I was in a cohort, and they were telling me all the rules and all the rules and all the rules. Good thing about entrepreneurship, there are no rules. There are some guidelines. There's guidelines. This is why when people ask me to speak, they're like, oh gosh, Kiwi. I'm like you're going against everything. I probably did and broke it. And And then when it fails, I'm like, all right, y'all, I'm sorry. Or then it goes good. I'm like, yay. Either way, I'm going to have the same reaction. But I mean, this is your show.
I like that.
This is your show.
This is your show.
Yeah.
This is your show. Well, you've given us so many tidbits. I mean, I wanted to close out with give us 1 or 2 tidbits. I feel like you've given them all throughout.
I hope
but
so.
Someone who maybe wants to start something and they're so afraid to start, can you give them 1 or 2 tidbits of information or encouragement to help them move and to take that risk?
Start right now. Don't wait. Don't put your pen down, because if you want to start, that means you probably have a notebook. You probably have been saying, okay, you probably have your Google search, your YouTube, your TikTok search has probably been a search engine full of how to open a juice bar, how to be this, how to be that. What is step 1? Move. I want you to take action. I want you to take action right now with whatever you have, I want you to do something right now, today, as if you already have that business. You already have that structure. I want you to just move and get going, because what you are going to learn is you don't know what you don't know. And a lot of these things I have not learned in a book, and I have learned from being in the field. And when you're in the field, all the stuff that you're worried about, that help is going to come to you. What you put out in the universe, it comes back to you. Right now, you're putting it on a paper, and which is great. We like that plan. Go do something with it.
I love that.
Yeah.
Woo. All right, you guys, It's time to act. So what I want to do is I want to take a little tour. I know we're not going to do a tour show, but I want to go to the juices, and maybe we can talk about some of the juices, share some information, and I'll add that in as part of it. So, oh my gosh. So we'll close out with this. I don't want to start crying again. Darn it.
And so my friends
I have to pause.
My friends always say that Kiwi starts it, and then I'll start the emotional thing. They're and then she goes and then it's
give me the emotion back. But this has been so inspiring to me, for someone who has been taking little steps, baby steps, who made a decision this year. I was going to be the year I'm just all in, I'm going in. This has been an inspiration. I know it's been an inspiration to anyone who sat here and listened and just hearing your story. But the most important thing I want you to do is get on juicingwithkiwi.com, order your juice. You do shipping and delivery. Local delivery. So if you're in the Cincinnati area, You can deliver, but you can also have shipped. And on the next segment, we're going to show some of her juices and talk a little bit about those.
Yep, and you can do free pickup at the store. I always forget I have this place. Free pickup. I never talk about it. I'm like, I forget that I have this place. Free pickup at the store. Our address is 1065 Reading Road. We're Suite 3. We're right between H&R Block and Harbor Freight. So we don't have our sign yet. We're getting there. We're applying for grants. But yep, you can do a free store pickup and you can come right in, work, hang out, enjoy a smoothie bowl.
Yes.
Come see me.
Gone.
I know, right?
I have to let you eat yours,
Right.
and then we'll do the rest of this.
Right.
All right, guys. Thank you so much for joining us, and stop by.
Thank
Get your
you for
juices.
having
See
me.
you guys on the next
See ya.
episode. Bye. Battery just.